The Western genre really would be nothing without the talented actors who brought its countless iconic heroes and villains to life on the big screen. So I'm Mark, and in this video I'm going to take a look back across the history of the genre to rank my top 20 greatest Western actors of all time. So at number 20 is Jack Palance, an unforgettable face in westerns thanks to his villainous role in Shane, where he played the cold and menacing hired gun Jack Wilson. Famous for his sinister smile and commanding presence, Palance brought a natural intensity to his western roles, appearing in over a dozen of them throughout the course of his career. And although he mostly played villains, Palance did actually show a lot of versatility as an actor, sometimes playing heroes and even tackling more comedic roles, such as his Oscar-winning appearance as Curly in City Slickers. At number 19, we have Joel McCrea, an actor widely regarded as one of the most dependable and authentic stars of the Western genre. Appearing in countless westerns throughout his career, such as Ride the High Country, McCrea became known for his stoic screen presence and understated style of acting, which made him a natural fit for the rugged heroes that he so often played. And although he never quite reached the mainstream fame of some of the other names on this list, McCrea still made an enormous contribution to the genre that deserves to be recognized. Up next, we have Kevin Costner, a major force in the Western genre, probably best known for the award-winning Dances with Wolves, which he also directed. He also starred in several other notable westerns, including Wyatt Earp, Open Range, and Silverado, before fronting one of the most successful Western TV shows of all time with Yellowstone. At number 17, we have Robert Mitchum, who was probably best known for El Dorado, but appeared in countless westerns before and after. This is because his brooding charisma and deep voice made him a natural fit for the genre, in which he often played flawed, world-weary characters that always left an impression, thanks to Mitchum's laid-back yet commanding screen presence. Next, we have Robert Duvall, an acting legend best known for his roles in The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. But he clearly had a soft spot for westerns, appearing in classics like True Grit, Lonesome Dove, and Open Range. And in most of these cases, Duvall stole the show, thanks to his nuanced portrayals of rugged, emotionally complex characters, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest western actors of the last 50 years. At number 15, we have James Coburn. With a career that spanned several decades, Coburn's performances in films like The Magnificent Seven, Duck You Sucker, and Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid all showcased his ability to embody complex characters with both charm and grit, thanks to his laid-back demeanor and distinctive deep voice. So he naturally exuded toughness as an actor, and was great at delivering witty dialogue, making him one of the most memorable Western stars of his time. Up next, we have Audie Murphy, an actor who appeared in so many westerns that his name has become all but synonymous with them. Having fought in World War II as a highly decorated soldier, Murphy returned home to become a huge western star, appearing in nearly 30 different westerns. And unsurprisingly, in most cases he played the classic all-American hero, with his legitimate toughness and boyish charm making him a perfect fit for the genre, establishing him as one of its most hard-working stars. Next up, we have Glenn Ford, who appeared in the likes of 3:10 to Yuma and The Fastest Gun Alive. And due to his ability to play flawed, morally conflicted characters, Ford ended up appearing in over 16 westerns, helping to humanize the heroes of the genre, with roles that presented a more introspective look at the consequences of violence and lawlessness. And this was in stark contrast to the more larger-than-life portrayals common in the genre, making Glenn Ford one of the more influential Western actors of his time, who inspired a lot of the performers on this list. At number 12, we have Burt Lancaster, one of the most famous American actors of all time, remembered mainly for his physicality and charisma, which he put to good use in classic westerns such as Gunfight at the OK Corral. And towards the end of his career, he tended to take on more complex, challenging roles in westerns that explored themes of honor, revenge, and redemption, making him a key figure in the genre's evolution during the mid-20th century. Up next, we have Charles Bronson, the iconic tough guy of Western cinema, best known for his role as Harmonica in Once Upon a Time in the West. However, over the course of his career, Bronson appeared in lots of other westerns, including The Magnificent Seven, Red Sun, and Chato's Land. Famous for his stoic, no-nonsense approach to acting, Bronson often played quiet but lethal anti-heroes, ultimately becoming the genre's definitive badass. Up next, we have Sam Elliott, an actor who's all but become the living embodiment of the classic cowboy archetype. Thanks to his signature moustache and gravelly voice, Sam Elliott has made the Western genre his own, with standout roles in Tombstone, The Quick and the Dead, and more recently, 1883. But regardless of the role, Elliott always brings an undeniable sense of screen presence, due to his grizzled, no-nonsense demeanor that's established him as one of the most recognizable Western actors of modern times. At number 9, we have Randolph Scott, probably best known for Ride the High Country and The Tall T. But that's really just scratching the surface, as Scott actually appeared in well over 60 westerns during his career, often playing the heroic cowboy archetype. And he was a good fit for it, with his clean-cut image and strong work ethic making him the go-to western actor for most of the 1940s, frequently collaborating with director Bud Bowditcher on B-movie westerns that were actually worth the price of admission. At number 8, we have Gene Autry, who at one point was probably the most influential Western star of all time, whose popularity really helped define an entire era of the genre. Known as the singing cowboy, Autry appeared in dozens of Westerns throughout the 1930s and 40s, usually playing honest, good-natured heroes, which made him a household name across America. And although a lot of his Westerns now feel pretty dated and of their time, there's no denying that Gene Autry had an enormous impact on the genre and music, with a lot of his songs having since become classics. At number 7, we have Eli Wallach, best known for his role as the outlaw Tuco in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. But with that being said, Wallach appeared in multiple westerns throughout his career, usually playing colourful, morally ambiguous characters that often upstaged the rest of the cast. And the reason for this was because as an actor, Wallach had a distinct sense of unpredictability about him, often improvising and riffing off those around him, making him one of the most memorable supporting actors of all time. At number 6, we have Lee Van Cleef, best remembered for his villainous role in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. But he'd actually already been appearing in westerns long before that, and really made the genre his home towards the end of his career. Recognized most of all for his sharp features and intense gaze, Lee Van Cleef became the quintessential western villain, who could also switch on the charm and cool when required as well. As such, Lee Van Cleef appeared in over 20 westerns and made a huge impact on the genre, especially in regards to spaghetti westerns, all but becoming the face of them in the absence of Clint Eastwood. Up next, we have James Stewart, who brought a relatable humanity to the genre, especially through his work with director Anthony Mann, in films like Winchester 73 and The Man from Laramie. But altogether, he appeared in 17 westerns, and frequently took on characters that were dealing with internal conflict and moral dilemmas, adding a psychological depth to the genre that it was generally lacking. But it was his everyman charm and likeable demeanor that really set him apart from the rest, making him one of the most enduring and endearing western actors of all time. At number 4, we have Gary Cooper, one of the actors a lot of people first think of when you bring up westerns. And this is largely due to his groundbreaking performance in High Noon, from which he became a genuine symbol of integrity and quiet strength. As such, he appeared in more than a dozen westerns, usually playing brave and honorable heroes, with his roles in Vera Cruz and The Hanging Tree solidifying his legacy as one of the genre's most reliable leading men. Up next, we have Henry Fonda, best known for roles like Wyatt Earp in My Darling Clementine, as well as the unforgettable villain of Frank in Once Upon a Time in the West. But in addition to this, Fonda appeared in countless westerns across multiple decades, typically playing righteous, noble characters due to his famous blue eyes and warm demeanor. So the fact that he went on to play one of the most morally deplorable characters that the genre has ever seen really demonstrated his versatility and courage as an actor, while cementing him as one of the all-time greats. So at number 2, we have Clint Eastwood, by the slimmest of margins. Now, to list what westerns Eastwood is best known for is pretty futile, as there are genuinely too many to mention, and for the most part, they're all classics, largely due to his involvement. But what really put Eastwood on the map was his role as the man with no name in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, instantly solidifying him as one of the coolest, most recognizable figures that the genre has ever seen. And as a result, Eastwood went on to make the genre his own, as both an actor and a director, contributing to some of the most well-regarded westerns ever made, even into his 90s. So it goes without saying that Clint Eastwood is one of the greatest western movie stars ever, if not the very best. So finally, at number 1, we have the Duke himself, John Wayne. Now when it comes to westerns, you could argue that Clint Eastwood had the better films, or is even the superior actor. But it still doesn't change the fact that regardless of what you think of John Wayne, he really is the quintessential western star, to such an extent that he might as well be his own genre. Appearing in over 80 different westerns across 30 plus years, John Wayne was and still is synonymous with the genre, characterized by his towering presence, distinctive voice, and heroic persona. As such, Wayne fronted some of the most famous westerns ever made, including Stagecoach, The Searchers, True Grit, and many more, ensuring that he remains part of cinema history forever, hence why he's still as much a household name now as he was back in his heyday. And that's why I would just about place him at the top of the pack as the greatest western actor of all time. But of course, that's just my ranking, and there are a few honourable mentions here that I feel deserve at least a shout out. But let me know below what your top 3 actors would be, and if you enjoyed this video, you might also want to check out this one right here.